Watch us get into it. We some lumberjacks, and we needin' wood. Yeah, we going for the sweet, then we mop it up. We put it all on the block, and then we chop it up, 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 chop it up. We put it all on the block, and then we chop it up.
Man, it's a Wednesday night, and you know what that means. Around 7:30, maybe 8 o'clock, depending on what happens before this show, we go live. It's the Chop and Block podcast, presented by DJ's Clam Shack. Wednesday night only means one thing: the NFL show, hosted by Beast of Kane. Coach Price, I think he's destroying a pizza right now. Look out for the pizza delivery guy. There's no telling what this man is drinking or eating. And Beast of Kane, he might be cooking something or getting delivery. But hey, lead this show like you always do.
Hey, man, look, the first thing first, we're going to wish our host, Digo Steve Dalton, the happiest of birthdays. I can't believe I'm making him work on his birthday. I probably would have did something different if I knew it was his birthday. We have several topics that we really need his input on him. And one more thing, his beautiful, amazing wife, Tracy, just made him this big old plate of hot brownies and just destroyed my hopes because I didn't get brownies on my birthday. I had to have a talk with my wife to say, why don't I get those hot brownies on my birthday? What can I do to get those like Digo is getting? And I know they were good. You want to give your wife a shout out right now?
Hey, let's just say this. I hope I get to eat more brownies than she does because she loves them damn things. And I don't know if it was for me or for her. Let's be honest.
Hey,
but I'll take the win right here, and I'll eat as many as I can. But man, I'm kind of an ice cream guy. If you get me a couple half pints of Bluebell, man, I'm ready to bust in your door.
You need some Bluebell to go with those hot brownies, and that would be the match we made it. Hey, you got the hat on, so let's take a trip to New England, right? We did this little segment, this slide a while ago, guys. I had to go down deep into the archive to pull out this slide. Is it time to bail on this chick? Now I know we all had our own opinions on what needs to happen with this, but it seems like the news have came out. Now I watched something on it. I think it came out of the NBC or somewhere. We'll have to kind of verify that. But anyway, it's kind of like news, but it's not news. It's kind of like a leak kind of like thing. So I don't know if it's true or not. But I wanted to get you guys' opinion on what's happening and what do you think this means for the Patriots. I'm going to start with the ultimate Patriot fan. Digo, what's up?
Earlier in the year, I said perfect scenario would be for him to step down as GM, just coach the team, hire somebody else. But we all know that's not realistic. He's not going to do something like that. And then again, how much longer does, how much long does he want to be in New England anyways? And how fast can a GM turn the tide? I don't think it's a 1-year thing. So, now with the season the way it's went, and the quarterback, my Lord, you got a talented guy, Mac Jones. I even think Bailey Zappe's talented, and nobody to throw to. You got Ezekiel Elliott, and you sign him to this big deal. In my opinion, I even talked about it, breaking the bank. That was one of our first segments. Ezekiel Elliott was on that list for me, and that's because. I think he was washed up before we got him, and we paid him a lot of money. He hasn't had a bad year, but it's like you tell me that's what you build your offense around. Name a receiver for the New England Patriots right now. If anybody can, I'll give you $100.
Juju. Juju Smith-Schuster.
And and let me tell you, Juju is doo-doo.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. I don't know what happened to him, how he could get so bad, but I think both quarterbacks are talented. They have nobody to throw to. The defense is pretty good. I mean, but if you can't score more than 14 points in a loaded AFC East, I mean, you're not going to win. So I'll end it with this. Belichick, I appreciate the 6 rings. It was amazing watching. But you need to be writing a thank you letter to Tom Brady right now saying, hey, kid, without you, I would be a bum and would be a defensive coordinator, a good one, or a college football coach that bounced around from school to school. And if you're the New England Patriots, you go get the best hire money can buy. It's worth it. Robert Kraft, you ain't got long to live. We hope you live, but you getting old. So throw the bank at anybody you could think of. And before we end this conversation, I want somebody to tell me who that guy would be, because I have somebody, but I want to hear yours first. But Barry, back to you.
Okay, so you talk about somebody for the to come in to be GM and coach for the Patriots?
Right away.
Okay, that's going to happen in a segment later on when you get to fix the Patriots. So we're going to hold off on that. I had a feeling that you were going to do that, so I went ahead and thought ahead. Coach, what you got on this slide?
Well, Bill Belichick has been the face of that franchise for about 25 years or so. So give credit where credit is due. But just imagine if you bought a car brand new 25 years ago. It's probably up under a tree right now. And that's just where it is with the Patriots. Bill, the paint's coming off. So, winning percentage when Tom Brady was there, 0.769, nearly 80%. Without Tom Brady, 0.456. So you're halfway, as far as winning ball games in the NFL. And we already know that a 500 coach in the NFL 9 times out of 10, that team is not making the playoffs. So we're seeing that without a great quarterback, no matter who the head coach is, you're going to struggle. And New England has been in a situation where they've been trying to find a quarterback since Tom Brady left. And you got to think about it. How good is Tom Brady? He goes to the Bucks and wins the Super Bowl after leaving Bill. So was it Bill or was it Brady? But, you got to give all respect to the man. But it was like I was saying, on a segment before. Bill Belichick is not going to get fired. We're not going to see a Carolina deal with Bill Belichick. No coach is going to get the door he's not going to get the door like any other coach would. His face is stamped there. The relationship he's had with Robert Kraft, is stamped there. So them making a move with Bill Belichick at the end of the season is exactly what I said they would do, was wait till the end of the season before they made that move. Now, the only question I got now is knowing that, Bill, you're 3-10. So the season is pretty much washed up for you. We know that no matter who you go get, Peter Pan or whoever, Tinkerbell, the whole 9, nobody is going to be able to give you a little magic wand that's going to get the Patriots in the playoffs. So with Bill going out the door, is this when you say, okay, New England, tank it for the rest of the season? Because we already know how y'all do in the draft. You give away your slots. You trade away. You bring in free agents. And usually you bring in free agents that are a little bit on the older side of their NFL career. So what do you do now in New England? I say go ahead, Bill, tank the season. Have you a parade. It's all over with right now in New England for you and for that team and any chance of making the playoffs this year. So, like I said, hex goes off to Bill Belichick for everything that you've done and you accomplished. But it's really time for the Patriots to go ahead and make that move, Barry.
Havoc, are you going to go to the parade?
Where do I start here? Now, my thoughts haven't really changed too much from what I've previously said. And Bill Belichick, the resume's there. I mean, he won the 6 Super Bowls. Obviously, Tom Brady helped him a ton. But there were games, guys, where Tom Brady didn't play his best football, not in the Super Bowl, but I'm saying leading up to the playoffs, leading up to the Super Bowl, where Belichick did have to outcoach other coaches, and he did. Now, present day, 2023, where we're at right now, 3-10. Belichick has the worst roster he's ever had. The reports, as Barry said, should be, according to the reports, his last year. Is it time to move on from this Belichick? And if it looks like the reports are true, I have a solution for both parties, and I think this solution will be very effective. Either way, it seems like you're going to lose Bill Belichick. And if you know that's true, why not get some compensation for Bill Belichick? The Los Angeles Chargers have a young quarterback who just broke his finger. I don't know if he's going to miss the rest of the year. I don't know what the injury report is on Justin Herbert.
He's out.
Justin Herbert's out, so he'll be back next year. Imagine if Bill Belichick had the kind of talent that's on the Los Angeles Chargers with Justin Herbert, with Austin Eckler, with a returning Mike Williams next year off of an ACL, number 1 receiver, Keenan Allen, Joey Bosa on defense, one of the sack leaders in Khalil Mack, Derwin James. All the talent in the world is there. So my proposal, since it looks like you want Belichick out of there anyway, New England, offer Belichick to the Chargers for however many draft picks you can get. Find a way to buy out Bill Belichick as GM and head coach so he can't veto it since he's still the GM. Buy him out and find a way to trade him to the Chargers, because that would be a solution for both teams.
Okay, so I like how that sounds, but I don't think this is the guy that you can trade. If we have quarterbacks in the league that drafts their contract up with a no trade clause, you don't think Bill Belichick gets a no trade clause?
I don't think so, because I remember John Gruden got traded from the Raiders to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it doesn't happen a lot, but it has happened.
But what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that it shouldn't happen or can't happen. I'm just saying, isn't this a situation, though, to where it's the kind of disrespect to this guy that coach is saying that he's not going to get by getting fired before the end of the year? You have to let an employee like this make their own decision and to make it look like it's their own choice. Not that I'm wrapping you up and shipping you to Los Angeles. I just don't think that'll work. And I'll be honest with you. Now that I said that city, I don't even think this guy is made for Los Angeles. He just don't seem like a Los Angeles guy. You know, when you really think about it. When you see Havoc, I listen to you and I'm thinking, Havoc is an old school football soul. He realizes this guy can coach and all this. But listen, man, today the game is much more about marketability and being able to inspire a new kind of athlete. I think that's what happened to Bill Belichick. He didn't keep up with the time. And it was starting to happen to Nick Saban in college. Remember, he came out kicking and screaming about the portal, kicking and screaming about NIL, and he would have got left behind if he didn't get on board. I think that you have to just sever ties with Bill Belichick and just say, hey, we decided to part ways. And if he does go to LA, and if he is,
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like with the LA, you guys, anyone in this room right now, all the viewers watching at home, do any of us think Belichick would have blown that lead to the Jaguars last year in the playoffs? 27-point lead. Well,
No.
my point is he can win with the Chargers team.
Well, but see, that's the problem, though. You know, I go back here, I push back a little bit on that, and here's why. Why are you getting the opportunity to where you have had all of these years after Tom Brady, and you have had Tom Brady for all of these years, and then you are the GM. You control the roster that you have. So why do you deserve a good roster to win with? To me, that's
Well,
you understand what I'm saying? It's kind of feel like he's getting a pass by getting a team with a roster. Why didn't you build that team?
well,
but
not
Barry,
only
sorry, go ahead.
he's not really, you know, I see where Havoc is coming from. He's not really getting a pass because all he'll be doing is coaching, you know, so he don't have the power that he's got in New England. He's literally got to go out and coach it. So I'm just amazed that Havoc put him back on the field with a whistle. I already had him in on the CBS Sunday afternoon football show, you know, with Terry and the rest of the boys on there. But you know, but like Havoc said, Bill Belichick hadn't lost his coaching edge when he's got better talent. And the last time he had a quarterback that even had a receiving core was when Tom Brady was there. You put him in that situation with the Chargers, and he's pretty much got what he had in New England when Tom Brady was there.
But coach, he the GM.
But not there, he wouldn't be.
I know, but
Right.
but I know he wouldn't be there. But what I'm saying is, I think it's kind of like we say about these quarterbacks. If you had this, if you had that, if you had this, you can do this. But here we have a guy that has had the reins. He has had full control as much as you can have over budgets, and he has not put together, assembled a team anywhere near what he had when he had Brady. Okay, we talk about, you said, coach, you know, you can't win without a quarterback. I venture to say that the San Francisco 49ers are winning without a quarterback. I venture to say, and here's why I say that. Kittle, Debo, Mac, and let's talk about the edges. Young, and what's the other edge? I can't think of Bosa. Dude, he has everything. He's a system quarterback. You take that guy and you drop him in Carolina, he's gonna look like a lot like Bryce. Might be a little bit better, but he's gonna look a lot like he has everything. All I'm saying in this situation right here, guy, I understand it. Now, listen, Dalton called this guy the best coach ever. I question that. And here's why. Had he left when Brady left, we wouldn't see these last few years of the body of work that he had without Brady. And plus, Brady went and won another Super Bowl without him. That looks bad on this guy. That looks like Tom Brady was the reason for all of those chips. That's what it looks like. That's the appearance. I'm not saying that it is correct, but that's what it looks like. So what happens if Bill Belichick does go to San Diego, but LA and coaches Chargers, and he doesn't do well?
Then he'd have no argument, Barry. But all I'm saying is, because it looks like he's going to be let go either way, if he gets fired and then he goes and signs with the Chargers, then you get nothing for him when you were going to get rid of him either way.
I agree. If you can get something out of him, that would be good in a regular business transaction. Say if you was going to let go of these different coaches, but can you treat a 6-time Super Bowl champion coach and say, I'm going to trade you? Dude, that's not going to work.
Well, then they'll watch him coach the Chargers because, bro, I promise you the Chargers will offer Belichick a deal. I promise you.
No. But it should be, we let him go, and it looks like he controlled it, and the Chargers contacted him, and then he go coach it. Not the trade, not the Patriots say, yeah, we just gonna trade you off. Dude, that's a bad. I think if that happened, watch the narrative of what that would be like, because that looks really bad for a 6-time championship coach who benefited greatly from the greatest of all time.
It would be a historic move.
Yeah, it really would. Hey, look, Speaking of goats, we saw one goat. He was acting like a billy goat. Bad, bad. That boy was mad about that call. And it's starting to look like the Chiefs and this man, Mr. Patrick Mahomes, is starting to self-destruct. If you know anything about Inspector Gadget, the dude had all kind of gadgets. This guy, he trying to play with the gadgets that he got, but it's just not working out. I need somebody to tell me, and I'll start with you, Habit. Is Inspector Gadget self-destructive?
Wow. Well, on the surface, that's what it looks like. But if whoever watched the game and knows football, like he doesn't have a lot of wide receiver talent on the outside. And I understand he's got Travis Kelce, but that just covers the middle of the field. When defensive backs can just shut down your wide receivers, or they drop passes, or they run the wrong routes, it makes it so much easier for the defense to just focus on Travis Kelce and Isaiah Pacheco. So Patrick Mahomes is having to work much harder than he's used to, as most quarterbacks would probably be used to, because the receiving core is just not getting it done. And then Kadarius Toney from my Florida Gators, my goodness, what was he doing? Like, I mean, to me, that's an inexcusable penalty that ruined a great play, and they would have won the game had that penalty not happened. That's not Patrick Mahomes' fault. Like, I understand how we are as a society. We want to build people up and then tear them down after they have their success. But that's not what's going on here. What's going on here is Inspector's gadgets aren't working, and he doesn't have any gadgets to play with besides Travis Kelce.
Okay. Now, Coach. Now, I understand that it's not Patrick's fault about his play, but part of this self-destruction is panicking. The Chiefs have never had to play a playoff game on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you a couple games back from the number one seed. I think it might be time to self-destruct just a little bit. What say you, Coach?
Well, I loved Inspector Gadget. And in the famous words of him, I would say right now he needs to go Gadget breakup. Because ever since Taylor Swift came in the picture, I told y'all that the marriage between him and that team, with all the attention going to Kelce the way it is, was going to go to the wash. Now, honestly, the reason why I think Patrick Mahomes is struggling so much is because fame and publicity has gotten in the way of preparation. He's doing more insurance companies, commercials. Everything about him right now is commercials and TV. So you got to think about it. If a guy that's in the NFL has got 6-7 commercials, how much time did he spend studying his script instead of studying what's going on the field? Because when you're at the top of the ladder, teams are aiming for you. So if we're aiming to beat Kansas City, that means we're going to find out every gadget that he's got. And he's not coming up with any new gadgets because your biggest weapon was the go Kelce gadget is occupied with the Taylor Swift gadget. So all that's starting to fall apart. If Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce was together 6 years ago, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But Travis Kelce is in a situation where he's doing something different in his life that he's never really done before. Whereas Mahomes, who's already married, is like, hey, the wife went to get a massage. Come on over and let's study some film. Well, guess what Travis is saying? Can't make it, dude. I'm backstage dancing at Taylor's concert. So the love between quarterback, tight end, which was the biggest duo there was, is not there anymore. You got a Taylor in the middle, and that's affecting all the gadgets. It's causing all the gadgets to actually rust. So, because like I said, the NFL has you figured out. So you got to come up with something new. And all your old gadgets, they're just not working anymore. And like I said, I knew this was going to be the outcome of what's going to happen, because if Kansas City end up making the playoffs and they end up being a wild card, that's already going to bring up a red flag on the relationship. If Kansas City gets bounced in the first round of the playoffs, now you know there's serious turmoil in that locker room, because quarterback, tight end, we're not on the same page no more, because the reason why y'all could do what you did when you got rid of Tyreek Hill is because your quarterback and your tight end was 1-1. Now it's 1 and a Taylor 1.
Right.
And we ain't talking about a tailor-made suit. So right now there's not a great fit.
And you know what? Speaking of tailor-made suits, I'm checking out this coat in this slide that I found on the internet. I'm gonna have to start vetting these slides a little bit more, because I didn't see the KY and the whip and all. I'm starting to think that I picked the wrong slide for this segment.
That's the reason why I said Taylor. All them gadgets right there are meant for Taylor.
That's funny. Dalton, what do you say about this Inspector Gadget and self-destructing?
Well, I think the Chiefs are in a little bit of a panic mode. The Broncos have looked super hot, and they're only one game back.
Who?
The Broncos.
Oh, okay, the Broncos.
So, that's what's crazy to me is you got the Broncos just a game back. And if they win this time against the Chiefs, they will have first place and head-to-head. So, it is possible for the Chiefs to not even make the playoffs. I still think they will. I mean, they always get in there, let's be honest. But I will say this. People can I'll say this. If Lamar Jackson were to act the way that Patrick Mahomes did at the end of that game, they would fry him all over ESPN.
Yeah, because Lamar Jackson is not Patrick Mahomes.
No, I think it's. I mean,
I had this same conversation with a good friend, Roger Lyle, and I told him how many Windows Surface computers have Tom Brady broke on the sideline? How many times he threw his helmet and went after everybody, dude, and nobody said nothing? When you the GOAT, and you do things. And let's be honest, it wasn't even that bad. You just playing.
What I'm saying is the reason it made it bad, in my opinion, is he was wrong. I mean, he was so wrong. And like for that organization to go out there in a post-game press conference, knowing that they've already watched the replay, they had to have. They were wrong. You know what? So what? Are we just supposed to turn our head because it was a cool play and just act like there's no penalties and flags? And let's be honest, one of the most benefited teams in the whole entire NFL over flags is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
I'll show you a video. It is horrible what they get.
But how was it when Tom Brady was in the league?
He got some calls. So what?
But that's what I'm trying to say. When you the GOAT, they're gonna do certain things. I think the league is set up that way, that when you the face of the league, you're gonna get called. It don't matter what industry you're in. I guarantee you, in your wrestling federation, in any league, when you are the head of it, I think that's what to your point, I think that's what he responded to. In fact, that he didn't get that call. But I think it wasn't just that it was the incorrect call. It was more about to them what they were saying is somebody went out and did a little research on how many times that play had been called, and it almost never. And it's because the referees typically will, if somebody do it, they just let it go, and then they'll tell the coach, "Hey, he's off the line." But he should have checked with the referee so that he wasn't off the line. But it's a young kid; they're gonna make mistakes. But I think it was not as much about the call being incorrect in that you went against the culture that normally happens regarding that play.
Mhm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get it. I just think it's weird that the media has made this big deal about it when I'm like you. I don't think it's that big of a deal. He's making a an argument out there. I think it just matters that he's wrong. I mean, and then the coaching staff goes behind him and says that in the post game press conference, and they're trying to blame the NFL for them losing, and it's like he was offsides. It is what it is. You know,
Right.
you're wrong.
Yeah.
So I mean, and that's the thing. I do agree. I mean, when you are the best team, which the Kansas City Chiefs, I mean, not this year, but the last 5 years, they've been the best team. So I don't know. I think it's interesting to see what it does, and it's either going to push the Kansas City Chiefs to the playoffs or they will self destruct. I think after this week we'll know a lot more.
Yeah, I think they're in trouble. It just doesn't even look like a good football team. I'm sorry. That you have to survive on a trick play. I'm sorry. That's just not. That's just showing me that your GM and Andy and all of them. They should have got D Hop at the beginning of the season. I'm like, go get D Hop. Everybody, go
That's
get
a
D Hop.
great
Get
point,
Hop.
Barry.
You know.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. That's an excellent point.
You can't just sit it. You can't just think that Patrick Mahomes is going to be able to do what he has been doing year in and year out. At some point, it catches up with you. Hey, look, man, is the tush push finally just butt hurt? The Mo Eagles, man, that tush push is getting real pushed. What do you say, Coach?
Well, once again, eventually, especially after it being week 15 in the NFL, we're going to figure this out. And they got exposed on it and it got figured out. But if it came down to the Philadelphia Eagles, 4th and goal to win a ball game, you're not stopping it. And the only reason why you're not stopping it is because there is more emphasis behind the tush push. Right now, they're just going out and making it look simple. And teams are like, okay, enough's enough. And Dallas came out and showed everybody this is how you stop it. But knowing that's how you're going to stop it, knowing that that's how you're going to play it, what spin do they have coming off of this play? Because you can't tell me that the tush push is all it is. That's no different than Tebow with the fake run jump pass. All of a sudden, that became a new thing. But we already knew what Florida was going to do with Tebow. And then what did they do? They threw a wrinkle in it. So, what wrinkle will the Philadelphia Eagles put in this situation when they're faced with it again and teams starting to know how to play it? Now, I don't think that they get away from it. I think we're going to see the tush push in the next ball game. And if it's successful, they're not going to change anything. But if it comes down to somebody with a defensive front like Dallas or any other squad in the league, and we know how to defend that, look for the wrinkle that they would have off of it. Because I see something else coming off of it because it's been done only one way all season long. But don't count Philadelphia out because even though Dallas went in and they manhandled them, and San Francisco manhandled them. You have to look at it. Those were actually two ball games where the defense didn't step up. And we see now that Philadelphia is not a come from behind football team, because all the mistakes that Philadelphia makes are when they're in a come from behind situation. So I would say that if Philadelphia's defense step up like they were in the beginning of the year, and we can erase these past two ball games against the Cowboys and the 49ers, I don't think we'll have to really worry about the tush push as much. Like I said, unless it's a goal line situation or maybe that 3rd and 1, and they just want to get that first down to keep the clock moving. But if that defense does not show up, anybody can beat the Philadelphia Eagles right now from what I've seen, because they got manhandled up front by both teams 2 weeks in a row. It'd be different if it was week 3 and week 9, but we're talking 2 back-to-back weeks where you face great defensive fronts and you struggle.
Yes.
So what does a team do? Figure out a way to put them in a situation to where they're always in passing situations, get them behind the sticks. And once you get them behind the sticks, we got to go and we got to score. And as long as we can score on them, we got Philadelphia in a situation where the tush push does no good unless they're trying to keep the clock rolling, trying to keep the ball on their side and drive down the field. But no other than that, Philadelphia has got their card pulled as long as that defensive front is not up to par.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I kind of feel like that team right now is a little bit butthurt because they thought that they was a premier team in the league, as did all of us. But for the last 2 weeks, hasn't looked much like that. What do you say?
Well, as soon as you put this slide up, as the Dallas Cowboys fan that I am, it put an instant smile on my face. Seeing that eagle get cooked and get barbecued, just like you did to him last Sunday. And I just want to say, for all the Philadelphia Eagles fans watching at home, how about them Cowboys? Now, with that being said, here's what happened. Big dog A.J. Brown he was up in there talking that noise. He goes to Stephon Gilmore, and he calls him old. The moment he did that, the game changed. He legitimately pissed Stephon Gilmore off because he said it in an interview. He said that A.J. Brown lit a fire in him that he hadn't had in a while, and he frustrated A.J. Brown. That's not Jalen Hurts' fault. Or not Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is the quarterback. That's not his fault. When your number one receiver is getting frustrated by a guy that he said was old and washed up, and you're washed, well, that washed up DB, the 9 catches for 94 yards is very misleading because he was targeted 13 times and he didn't have a touchdown. He was kept out of the end zone. So everything A.J. Brown caught was in front of him. He wasn't making big plays, and he was targeted a lot. That's why he had 9 catches. But when you look at the tape, when you analyze it, old man Gilly, shut down A.J. Brown. And now the last part is the tush push finally just butthurt. No, the tush push still works. Jalen Hurts is a 600-pound squatter who got injured the week before, and a lot of people poo-poo that. I don't. Quarterbacks get injured, and when you're injured, you don't play as well.
Mm-hmm.
And really honestly, when I drew this slide up, I was more taking a play off of words of the butthurt on the tush push, because I think that tush push is solid too, but I do think those Eagles got to be a little butthurt losing 2 in a row in the NFC. What say you, Dalton?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of the play, and I agree. Every time they use it, it pretty much works. But I'm shocked that the Cowboys did what they did. And I'm even more shocked that I waited all day for that game and I fell asleep in the first quarter. And when I woke up, there was a blanket on top of me that I did not put on myself. and it was 1:30 in the morning. And I'm like, I be damn, you know. And that's you said happy birthday. That's what happens when you're 28, man. You just it starts to wind down a little bit at night, and so I'm more frustrated at myself than the Eagles. Um, hey, they at least played 4 quarters. I only made it one, really not even one, but I'm going to pump the brakes here. The Cowboys are really good. It seems they're right there with the Eagles, but also what I'm going to say is the Eagles, they've only lost 3 games. I mean, so they're still right there. I mean, um, that's just how I feel about it. I think both these teams are going to go down to the wire. There's 4 games left, and I think they split, right? So
Mhm.
that's it'll go down to a tiebreaker of some sorts, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, considering that they both win out, which is something that we'll get into in a little bit. But it's definitely speaking of pushes and butt hurts, that thing is tight right now.
Mhm.
Hey, look, our friend, the new GM, Danny DeVito, baby. He been seeing his old nephew. I think his nephew done won about 3 straight up there in New York. The Giants are on the clock, coach. What do they do? You got Danny Dimes up there. You got Tommy DeVito. And on a lot of mock drafts I see, you have that kid, the 2023 Heisman winner, LSU, Bayou Boogie, Jaden Daniels. What do?
Well, first of all, I would say congratulations, Jaden, on winning the Heisman, but you're not coming to New York again. But if the Giants were smart, they would look at what they really need. Now, they can go out and they could try to draft a quarterback. You can get you a Drake May if he's available. You can get a Penix Jr. if he's available. You can get a JJ McCarthy if he's available. But what I would do is I would focus more on what weapons can we get for a quarterback. Now, here's a name I know nobody's thinking of because I know he's going to fall in the draft, which means you're going to get something good for less money. Michael Pratt, quarterback out of Tulane.
What?
Underrated passer. Nobody's really paid attention to him. He can make all the throws, so NFL scouts are going to love him. But look at what you have coming up in the free agent market that could actually help the Giants. Okay, if you said, well, we can draft a quarterback, but we could also get us a veteran quarterback to kind of groom him a little bit. You got Kirk
Mhm.
Cousins that's going to be a free agent. But the Giants need defense because you put your team in a situation where you have to pass to try to come back. We don't know what's going to be the deal with Barkley because he's a franchise tag.
Oh, wow.
So you may be in the market of needing a running back. That might be something you look at in the draft. But you got Josh Allen as an edge rusher in Kansas City. He'll be a free agent. T. Higgins, Cincinnati. He'll be a free agent. And then you got Winfield Jr., Jalen Johnson from the Bears, and Snead from Kansas City. Defensive backs. You desperately need to fix your secondary. So if the Giants are smart and they're on the clock, don't go for a big name quarterback. Don't lock all your money up in a big name quarterback because you guys are more than a quarterback away from doing anything in the East. You have to look at what's winning the East. We can sit here and say, well, Dallas has got Dak and Philadelphia has got Hurts. But what does both of them have? Defense. So to me, right now in the NFC East, it's all about the defense and a quarterback that can handle all situations and manage the team down the field, because we're giving Dak a lot of credit. But to me, the credit is on the defense, because if I got your defense on the field for 20 plays and you've only had my defense on the field for 7 plays, you tell me which defense is going to wear down first. So when you take a talent level like a Dak Prescott throwing to a CD Lamb, bro, your defense is not going to last. You've been on the field too much. But the only way to keep your defense from being on the field too much is filling some quality slots that you know you need on that defense before you try to repair everything else. Because like I said, as far as New York's offense, you guys don't know what you're going to do, because like I said, Saquon Barkley, you franchised him. You're not going to do it twice. It's either going to be pay me or I'm out of here. And 9 times out of 10, he's going to be out of there, because just being franchise tagged is already that's a humiliation to players in the league. Everybody might think that it's good because you're franchised and they're going to pay you $11 million. That's just because that's where in the franchise tag, that's what that position calls for. But you're not even going to get that. What is he making, like 1.3? That's no money. So you've already insulted Saquon, so he's probably going to bounce. So that's another hole that you got to fulfill. So if I was the Giants, don't look at trying to draft any of those guys up there in the first round. All you're going to do is cause yourself to lock up a whole bunch of money that you can use down the road, get into the free agent market, just like colleges in the transfer portal, find you some decent players, get your defense up to par, because that's what it's going to take to do anything in the NFC East, then go after your quarterback in later rounds.
Coach still think defense win championship, haven't? Do you agree?
I agree with Coach to an extent, and they definitely need a defensive star. Hopefully they can get my solution for the Giants is similar to Coach's. They need a defensive end to go outside of Kayvon Thibodeau. Thibodeau hasn't been developing the way they want, but, I mean, they drafted him high, so he's going to be there. Now, my solution for the Giants, they need to draft an offensive lineman, a left tackle with the first-round draft pick. They need to draft a right tackle with the second-round draft pick. And then they need to focus on the defense after that. Yeah, because, I mean, Barry, this Tommy DeVito guy, let's be honest, as Steve likes to say, he wouldn't even be playing if the Giants had an average offensive line. Daniel Jones suffered a neck injury, and then Tyrod Taylor literally got hurt the next week. We don't even know if DeVito will make it through the season. This Giants offensive line is awful. There's no quarterback that could survive that offensive line, not C.J. Stroud, not Michael Vick, not Cam Newton. I don't care who you bring back from the past. They won't make it through the season with the Giants offensive line. That has to be a top priority. I don't care who you got on the outside, who your quarterback is. If you get 2 quarterbacks hurt during the season, you don't have a good offensive line.
Listen, hey, Dalton, do you think the GM is going to get fired if they take 2 back-to-back offensive linemen when you have the kind of capital that you have right now in the draft at quarterback? Talk to me.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you, this is going to be the most unpopular opinion tonight, but in my opinion, you're going to get rid of Daniel Jones, get rid of Saquon Barkley, add your multiple draft picks because of that. And you know what? I'm going with Tommy Cutler. I mean, how you doing? This guy has come in there playing. He has no business to be in this position, but he is. I mean, he's had an underdog story. And you know what? He's talented. Like, my God, he can play. So if he can do that with no talent around him and no offensive line, let me see what we can do if we get rid of Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, get draft picks for them, and, hey, let's throw a wide receiver out there and, maybe another running back. But then, like Havoc says, later in the rounds, you got to go all offensive line, protect the guy.
Mhm.
Defense ain't that bad. So, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm sticking with Tommy Cullins.
Wow.
Now that defense is pretty bad on the back end. You can throw all over the Giants.
You can throw on them, but I mean, you can throw on almost any NFL, defense. It seems like at this point. I mean, the quarterbacks are just too good. I mean,
Yeah, but you get that edge rusher, and you get you and tighten up your secondary, and it'll make all the difference. I mean, like you said, the defense is not missing a whole lot. It's just the pieces that they are missing are very valuable pieces that everybody in the league takes advantage of. I mean, I'm
I
sure
agree.
if we really did some digging deep on the research, I would put my money to say that the New York Giants would rank high amongst all the NFL teams in pass interference. If you have a lot of pass interference, then you're not covering very well. And
Yeah.
usually you're not covering very well because there's not enough pressure on the quarterback. And everybody knows that in the NFL, after 13 yards, whatever move you make, that's the last move you make. Everything else turn into a scramble drill. And if you're continually having, pass interference charges, then you're not covering very well in the secondary, and you're giving teams free first downs. You're keeping the chains moving, and once again, your defense is still on the field, and you need to tighten that up because that's the only way you're going to be able to compete with the Cowboys and the Eagles in the East. Is you're going to have to tighten up your defense.
Hey, I agree with you, Coach. But just one more thing before we move on. I agree with you on that, but also think about this: in the NFC East, you have to have offense. You got to score over 35 points a game to win.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I think the Giants they do need to put a lot of emphasis on offense this year, and maybe just stay with the quarterback. Gain some draft picks from the other guys, but move on.
Now I agree with that as far as the draft, but what I'm saying is free agent wise, they got the cap room. Pick up some of these quality free agents.
I'll say one thing on him before I move to the next slide. I don't know who to be at quarterback, but if you got Caleb, May, and Daniels, and you don't pick them, your ass getting fired. Name that team. Okay, I'm going to read a statement. You guys are going to tell me this team. It's only one team. You're either wrong or you're right. So, but I'm interested in all answers. Okay, this is the slide that I held out for you guys because you would be Googling and doing all that fancy stuff y'all do with the technology, and you would beat up on me. But I'm gonna beat up on y'all a little bit. These are teams. I'm gonna name a phrase, and you tell me who you think the team is. We started slow, but now we cooking gumbo. These are hints in this thing. They mean something. Who do you think having this team is? And what I'm going to do is when somebody give me the right answer, we're going to discuss the answer and move on, okay? Or we can put it in a private chat, whichever one y'all want to do. But here's the deal. The first one says, we started slow, but now we're cooking gumbo. What team is that?
Denver.
Denver is correct. And the hint is, why did you get that? Why did you think Denver?
Well, they gave up 70 points. They started out 0-5. They won 6 in a row. They're only one game back now.
Yep, that's it. And let Russ cook. And Sean Payton came from the Big Easy where they cook a lot of gumbo.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good job, Havoc. Okay. And in case y'all don't know, man, I'm on this Elijah Craig or whatever. Dude, this stuff got me feeling right. Okay, listen. The next hint is this right here. We don't quite have enough Indians to get it done. Who is it?
The Browns.
Not the Browns.
Kansas City.
Kansas City. Listen, you got to say if it's Indians, You gotta have
Oh
Chiefs.
yeah!
right?
Hey, I
Wow.
wasn't even thinking about the Indians. I was just thinking about
God,
the
I was waiting for that
scenario.
one.
You gotta listen to the context clues.
No
brother.
PhDs around here.
The next one, PhD just mess you up, man. Just learn from the streets. That's the best way to do it. Okay, we were soaring, but now we'll just soar.
That would be the Eagles.
Yeah.
That is absolutely the Eagles. Good job, coach. The next one, I know y'all gonna get this one. We thought we were a mountain, but we are really just a hill.
Dolphins.
The Miami Dolphins, right? And the last one, we are just a bunch of cowards on a yellow brick road.
Now, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
You
That
would
is
say
a-
that for laugh.
That is not a tough one.
Just cowards on a
Steelers?
yellow brick road.
No, it wouldn't be the Steelers.
Okay, we are just a bunch of cowards on a yellow brick road. When have you ever heard of a yellow brick road?
Wizard of Oz.
The Wizard of Oz, and who was the coward?
The Lions.
Detroit Lions. Fellas, is something wrong with that Detroit Lions team? I don't know what it is, but they got something. Listen, remember I asked y'all a question. Are they the Lion Kings? Or do they need to go see the Wizard? And I think at this time point in the year, they need to go see the Wizard. But you guys did a good job. Hey, let's talk about that AFC East. Used to be the AFC least when that Bill Belichick won all of them Super Bowls that the Patriots fans like to tout about. How's that going these days? Which is more likely, Buffalo Dolphin or Miami Fried Buffalo? What do you say, Dalton?
Well, these days, Craig, the Patriots suck ass. Let's just be honest with you. And it takes a real fan to acknowledge that. But yeah, Debo's coming down the block every week and snatching my grandmama's chain, and I can't do nothing about it. But maybe next year, but I don't know. The Patriots are in shambles. It might take 5 years. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm kind of worried about the future. But, hey, if next year's bad, maybe we can, get in one of these Marty McFly DeLoreans and go to when, whenever we were going to be good again. So I don't know. But this is a tough question because you guys have said it. I haven't said it one time, but you guys have said it, and y'all been right on it. The Dolphins can only beat bad teams. And unfortunately, they lost to a bad team on Monday night or Sunday night, whenever it was. I would not be shocked if the Dolphins lose out on the AFC East and the Buffalo Bills win it. The Buffalo Bills, to me, they're tougher. They have, I don't know what it is, man. I know they lose some tough games and close games, but it seems to me in bigger games, they're in it more than the Dolphins are. So I'm putting all my marbles in Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills. Somehow, I'll say this. I don't know if they'll win the AFC East, but they are guaranteed to make the playoffs. They're going to come all the way back. And don't be shocked in week 1 of the playoffs if they go down to Miami and smack the Dolphins around and go to the second round of the playoffs.
Wow. So you're looking at the Buffalo Dolphins, and I tend to agree, guys. And I love the point that you brought up, too, that Buffalo seems to be big in those big games. And I just think that Allen gets jacked up for those games. But the only problem is the dude that gets jacked up is the dude who's usually doing the jacking up. What do you say, Price?
Well, I'm going to pull out my inner Robert Downey Jr. and Pineapple Express, and I'm just a dude talking to a dude about another dude
Period.
who know that your mama always cook her food fried.
All right.
So look for Miami to fry the Buffalo Bills. Only thing the Bills will do is kind of make it interesting.
Oh.
But I say you get Miami in the playoffs, because see, this is the one thing you have to look at. We talked about Tua all season long. But Tua, to me, is the same way Trevor Lawrence is in Jacksonville. They'll have good games throughout the season. They'll have bad games throughout the season. But they become a different beast when it comes to the playoffs.
Mm.
Tua was the same way when he was in college. He would have a good game in Alabama, but it was the defense that carried him most of the way.
Mm.
But once again, you got a defense that kept another defense on the field more than their offense. So Tua in the fourth quarter was deadly. Now you put Tua in a bowl game, you put Tua in a championship game, and he became a different beast. And when you say a different beast, Jalen Hurts didn't beat us in a national championship game. Tua did.
Mm.
So you put him, Tyreek Hill, who's already got experience in knowing what it takes to get in the playoffs and win when you get in the playoffs, then now you're looking at a different beast of a team. So I look for Miami to be able to easily handle
Easily?
handle them, because Josh Allen is going to try to do too much. And when I say try to do too much, that's a interception and a fumble. Them two turnovers right there could just totally wipe you out depending on field position, especially in the NFL. Because we already know every team out there, if you are in a situation to where it's a 55-yard field goal, every team in the NFL is going to attempt it. College, that's different. But in this league, 55 yards, they're going to attempt it. So to me, it's all about field position. And I just don't see Buffalo being able to win the field position war against the Miami Dolphins in the playoffs when all the marbles are on the table, because Buffalo just don't have the weapons to match Miami offense to offense.
You know what's so crazy about this? Now, I don't know what it is, Havoc, but every time I hear somebody talk this highly of Miami, all I can see is Tyreek Hill. And I think if anybody told us today that Tyreek Hill will not play for the rest of the year, I think this conversation would be totally different. So I understand it. Now, I understand that Tua did some things in college, but we're not in Tuscaloosa anymore. And let me tell you something right now. What I've seen the other night against Tennessee, that was real nasty. That looked more like some Buffalo Dolphin to me. But I'm going to let you settle this thing, Havoc.
Wow. This is definitely a great topic, especially because I think both teams are playoff teams. I've been impressed with Josh Allen this year. People like to talk about his turnovers, but they don't bring up his touchdowns. And I think that's very ignorant. Josh Allen scores a lot of points consistently. He consistently throws over 25 touchdowns a season. He's rushed for 10 touchdowns this year. I mean, Josh Allen's a touchdown machine, and he's a dangerous quarterback to have to play against. Sure, he may throw you one or two balls that have a chance to get intercepted each game, but he's also got a good chance to score 4 or 5 touchdowns.
Mm.
And when he does that, they're a hard team to beat. And it's starting to come to fruition, everything. Dawson Knox came back from injury. Their young rookie, Dalton Kincaid, is starting to play better each week. And I brought him up early in the year when we talked about our first-round rookies. Now he's starting to blossom. Stephon Diggs on the outside, he's facing a little less double teams. They've got to get Gabe Davis going, and then they've got James Cook, the running back. This is a dynamic team who happens to be reckless. They turn the ball over a lot. But all of us have seen, and here's a great example of who the Bills remind me of. They kind of remind me of the 2012 Ravens, who won the Super Bowl, and none of us were talking about them as a serious contender. They snuck their way into the playoffs. They upset Peyton Manning off of Joe Flacco's deep pass in overtime. Josh Allen could very easily do this in the playoffs. Josh Allen's got all the talent in the world. He's got the weapons. Now, as far as Miami, as much as I want to believe in them, I just don't. They haven't given me any reason to. What did they do this Monday? They went out and they lost to a rookie quarterback, Will Levis, and Will Levis hasn't started the whole season. A lot of people forget Will Levis didn't start playing till about week 6 or 7.
Yeah.
He hasn't had a full season of being the starter. And he went out, and after he threw a horrible pick 6, he annihilated that defense in the fourth quarter. Passer rating of over 130. He shredded the Dolphins defense. That defense has a lot of holes, and a rookie quarterback should not be able to pick you apart like that on national TV.
Well, two things. The Dolphins don't rely on their defense. They're going to rely on Tyreek Hill. And we saw that on Monday night. But about Levis, you know what, dude? I'm going to tell you something like this, man. Us football lovers, when we see somebody play with the level of passion that he played with, he came off the field onto the sideline. He was jacked up, and he literally jacked up too. That's a man.
Yeah.
That boy, he believes in what he does. It brought tears to my eyes, dude, because I know what's happening right there. That dude is going out there with that passion and trying to make a name for himself in a place where it's hard to make a name for yourself, especially at that position. So, listen, I don't know what he's going to be, but I know what he did. He went out there and he beat a good football team. They took Tyreek out figuratively and literally, and I really enjoyed seeing him play. And really, honestly, like I told a lot of people, I liked the guy when he was at Kentucky. I thought he could play. You know what I mean? I thought he was a good ball player. I just want to see what he does, man. It's easy to string a couple of games together. I'm not believing in Levito in Dallas. I mean, in New York. I think that, we seen Dobbs in Minnesota. It's things start to quiet down. So it's about consistency in the league. You can't just go out there and do something. We'll follow the trend and we'll ride you for a little while and then we'll hop out of you. I even see Stroud and them Texas starting to slip a little bit. So all I'm saying is right now, the kid looks like he wants to do it. And like you said, Having, which is an excellent point. He is brand new to the game. And what is this guy going to do with the rest of the season and then an off season and come back to play? Because I'm going to tell you right now, D-Hop was on the sideline and he said, I like to see somebody play like that. He plays with a lot of passion. When your number one is behind you like that, because these wide receivers are divas. So when they don't like you, they let you know they don't like you. So to have D-Hop, your money man, to be talking that good about you on the sideline, that says everything I need to know. Not only what's happening in the game, but how that man is preparing himself in practice.
Yeah,
Levis is just like a pair of Levi's. He gonna shrink after you wash him.
Hey, speaking of shrinking,
and used to be made in Lindale.
Okay, just remember, I got that on film. Okay, speaking of Fields, has Fields put his trade talk into hibernation, or are the Bears ready to pounce onto Caleb Williams? Digo.
Well, you know what's funny? I just last week on this show, I had a different opinion than I do now. Justin Fields, my good son, you have gotten another year.
Woo.
And the reason I say that, I think last week you probably played your best football game you have all year, and I think also you are now playing the best football you've played in your whole career.
Oh, even over Ohio State.
Well, I'm talking in pro.
Okay.
In the NFL, I think what he's done, if you look at it like this, just 3 or 4 years ago, we were talking about Justin Fields being a generational talent.
Yeah.
And if you really thought that, you can't give up on him now when you have 2 early first round draft picks. Coach Price last week on the show, he picked Brock Bowers and Marvin Harrison for the Bears. And my idea was maybe trade Fields and get 3 picks in the first round if Fields was worth it. And Havoc pushed back on that and said, hey, Fields might not be worth a first round pick. So guess what? If he's not worth the first round pick, you got to ride with him. Get him the talent around him. Think about it. They got what is his name? DJ Moore and
DJ Moore, Cole Kmet.
If you get DJ Moore with a Marvin Harrison and a Brock Bowers, I'm telling you, that instantly turns that team around. And the quarterback is not bad. I mean, honestly, he's one of the best players on the Bears. So stick with Fields for one more year. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I'm going to switch course here. Stick with him one more year. Draft right. You got the draft picks to do it. But don't also be shocked if in April the Bears draft like they always do, and you go home on that April night and you say, wow, the Bears are stupid.
Listen, you talking about keeping for one more year, that would have to be a franchise tag, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what are you thinking, Havoc? You gonna keep him another year, or is this too big of a risk to take when Caleb Williams and Drake May and Jayton is in the pool?
No, and I wouldn't trade him only because I don't think Caleb Williams could do better. I really don't. I think Caleb Williams would probably actually do a lot worse than Justin Fields. Next year will be Justin Fields' 4th season. Do we really think a rookie Caleb Williams is going to do more with the same team? I mean, I don't. Whoever does think that, well, I can't wait till next year for Caleb Williams to prove you wrong. Now, with Justin Fields, I would draft a quarterback in the later rounds, a backup as security, just to push him a little bit. Not a serious threat as a starter. Maybe like a Sam Hartman from Notre Dame would be a good pick later in the draft. Justin Fields, guys, again, it's going to sound like I'm repeating myself, but Justin Fields needs a left tackle, and then you get Brock Bowers. Get the left tackle first, then get Brock Bowers. And guys, one of our favorites, Tyreek Hill, was a 5th-round draft pick. Oh, I don't want to hear all this garbage and crap about how we have to draft wide receivers in the 1st round when every single year teams find receivers later in the draft. I absolutely would not draft a wide receiver in the 1st round with Justin Fields. Get a left tackle, get Brock Bowers, coach's idea of last week, fantastic idea. Brock Bowers and Cole Kmet, a 2-headed monster tight end, then DJ Moore. And then later in the draft, get your wide receiver and get yourself a backup quarterback and stick with Justin Fields one more year.
Havoc, I agree with everything you say, except for one thing. You do draft that wide receiver when their name is Marvin Harrison Jr. That's the only thing I'll push back on.
You take him over Bowers, Steve?
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Listen. Havoc, I love Havoc to death, man, because I think if I was going to be in a war, I want to be with Havoc, because Havoc is going to get that physical artillery that we need to take care of what we need to take care of. But if I'm playing football and a quarterback as a GM coaching, and he asking me to take an old lineman for the number 1 overall pick, I ain't going to even invite him to the draft party. Because Havoc, think about it. If maybe you say the 2nd pick, but who do you take? Are you telling me you're gonna take an old lineman at the Bears picking number 1 overall. That's number 1 overall. If you take the O-line, your franchise becomes the laughing stock of the NFL. If you take an O-lineman at the first even if you do what you want to do, just trade the pick. Trade the pick so somebody else can get that pick and you can do something else. But to take them number 1 overall, I just think that would be. I don't know if that's ever happened.
Yeah, it's happened. There's been a few tackles go number 1 overall. Eric Fisher for the Chiefs a few years ago. He was number 1 overall.
Boy, to Jacksonville.
Yeah,
I guess they already had a solid quarterback situation, though, right?
Right. And the thing with the O-lineman, people, it's not an attractive pick, but it's safe and it's a building block. And when you have strong left tackles, usually every team that wins a Super Bowl has a strong left tackle. We can all agree it's a very important position. If you don't have it, you're not going to win. You're not going anywhere without a left or right tackle. You need both.
the money that you would actually spend for a first round O-lineman is a lot less than the first round money you would spend for a wide receiver.
Yeah, and think about how much money you have to pay a free agent offensive lineman, Barry, $14 to $20 million contract for a free agent left tackle like Trent Williams makes.
Do you think you can get a free? Do you think you can get a lineman in the second round?
Not an elite one, no. Not left tackle. They go too early, Barry. That position's too valuable. You won't find an elite one in the second round. It's unlikely. Maybe a good one, but not elite.
What you got on this, Coach?
Well, I say that the talks are just in hibernation, but he's out of there. And I'm not a fan of this squad at all. But if the Atlanta Falcons are smart, that's who they would go after.
Save that now. Save it. Save that now. You got to fix the Falcons in a little bit.
Hey, but I mean, and that's what I'm saying. I get to it all. That's the reason why I'm kind of keeping it just short and simple by just simply saying that the talks are just in hibernation. Eventually, the Bear's gonna wake up, and when the Bear wakes up, he's gonna be hungry, and the first thing he's gonna do is he's gonna go out and eat for a new contract, and I don't see him being in Chicago. And the reason why I don't see him being in Chicago is, for one, he wants to be out of there. 2, he's already criticized him. And 3, it's a quarterback-rich draft. So it's not like we can say, oh, well, if we get rid of Justin Fields, it'll be 2025 for another quarterback to come along. We got 8 quarterbacks that are easily going to be able to handle a career in the NFL. So it's a quarterback-rich draft, which means that Justin Fields is not necessarily that important. Because if you do draft a quarterback, you're really going to have to go draft some dumpster juice material, because you're not going to draft anybody that's going to pressure him for his position, considering the fact you're going to have to sign him to a new major contract. So who you going to pay? You going to pay the rookie or you going to pay the vet? Because you can't pay them both. So where are you really going to lock your money in at? So I look at Fields out of Chicago, somebody else coming in. Now, Caleb Williams, I'm not all that big on Caleb Williams. The only reason why I'm not all that big on Caleb Williams is because the teams that really need that quarterback the most are in cold cities. Have you ever seen this kid perform in cold weather? No. So we can't say what he'll do in Chicago. You know, can he really come out in 28-degree weather? It's snowing sideways, and you're face to face with the Detroit Lions to win the division, and all you've had was sunny skies and palm trees? I mean, dude, you paint your fingernails. Anybody that's got time to sit around and paint their fingernails and play football, you in some great weather, buddy, because you ain't thinking about painting your nails in Chicago. You putting on some gloves. So, you know, I don't see if the Bears were to go on Caleb Williams, I think that would be a mistake. I think Caleb Williams has to be in the right fit, in the right environment. That's the reason why I say if there's a perfect fit for him, whether he would want to go to a team like this or not, it would be the Arizona Cardinals, because the weather is fine. You play indoors, and 9 times out of 10, the worst weather you're going to face in your division is to have to go to Seattle. And depending on what time of the year you may have to go to Seattle, you may not have to face that type of weather in that division at all. So, I don't see myself being real big on Caleb Williams, but I can say that Justin Fields, I would say 9 times out of 10, he's out of Chicago, and I'll fix him a little bit later on.
You know what, man? I'm gonna say this and move to the next slide. I kind of just think, man, like Havoc, and you need to, or maybe it was Dalton, whichever one of you was. It was. You got to keep him for another year, man.
Yeah.
You gotta. I know it's going to be just like the craziest. It's going to be this pick right here, guys, is so crazy. I can't remember a dilemma like this, quite like this. And only Justin Fields, with his controversial career, all the way stemming back all the way to Georgia to now, could have created a scenario like this. Because if he had I know it's not all his fault. I'm still in the club to where I don't think the kid has had enough time. I was even listening to a show today that said that it was only really technically his second full year at the quarterback position. I just think it would have been a whole lot easier if he had just balled out like we thought he could, but he hasn't. And for many reasons, right? So we have a situation now to where we are seeing all of these people who are doing these mock drafts that has Caleb Williams as the favorite to go. I mean, just like no argument about it. He goes first. He's supposed to be the next Patrick Mahomes. And you have this version of a bear standing in the way of all of it. And it just makes me, it's so exciting to think what could happen in this scenario. But the more I think about it, is I kind of agree with Havoc. Is Caleb really going to come in and do what you think he's going to do? Just like he said, bigger, faster, stronger. And if you have, now I'm going to forego the O-line stuff. I'm going to say the O-line for the second round. I know that's going to not make my thoroughbred happy, but we're going to say the O-lineman for the second. And we're going to get Marvin Harrison. And we're going to get Brock Bowers. Loaded up. Because guess what? If we get another quarterback, like Havoc said, in some later rounds, maybe we get a backup that at least you got weapons, at least you got an attractive enough roster so that people want to come play there. That's what Tom Brady did in Tampa Bay. That's what Aaron Rodgers did in New York. He said, I can go play there. I have an opportunity to win. So I'm thinking like possibly you franchise. That's what the franchise tag is for, right? We don't want to give you the big bag, but we kind of like you a little bit. I'll date you for another year, but I ain't going to put no ring on that finger just yet. I kind of feel like that's where Justin Fields and the Bulls are at. Now, guys, I don't know if you have the schedules around. We can try to pull up the schedules if we need to. I want you guys to give me an upset of the week and the trap game of the week. And nobody is more upset than Will, because at this very moment, his woman was telling him that she had entanglements with a son's best friend in his home. Now, whoever can deal with that and not make this face, teach me how not to feel anything. So who wants to give me their upset of the week and trap game of the week first?
I give it to you.
All right.
Well, from the look on his face, the first thing I want to do.
We lost your mic, Coach.
Can you hear me?
We hear you now.
Game of the week.
We lost you again, Coach. Coach, try to fix your mic. I'm gonna go to Havoc, and then you can come back in, Coach. What do you say, Havoc?
Yeah, my upset pick of the week, Barry. I'm gonna pick the Colts over the Steelers. And then my trap game, for me, my trap game, it's gonna be the Bears and Browns. I really think that's gonna be a trap game for Cleveland.
The Bears and you said the Bears and the Browns?
For the trap game and the upset of the week, Colts over the Steelers.
Boy, that's a good one. That Steelers Colts game is going to be really, really interesting. We got your back, Coach?
You got me?
Yep.
All right. Well, my upset game of the week is Jets and Dolphins.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. I think the Dolphins better be on their P's and Q's because that could be a big time upset for them against the Jets. Go ahead,
Coach.
My trap game is like the picture that you got on there with the pink house and 2 chains. I got 2 trap games. My first trap game is the Cowboys Bills. Cowboys are going to be riding on a little high horse. You came in and you beat the Eagles. But don't sleep on the Bills because they'll knock you off of that high horse with your spurs and all. My second trap game is the Broncos Lions.
Yes, sir.
Lions are playing at home at 9-4. Broncos are coming in at 7-6. The Broncos are riding a high horse right now.
Mm-hmm.
So if the Lions are not careful and on their P's and Q's, look for the Lions to be getting upset by the Broncos.
Digo, trap, upset.
I mean, upset. You know, I'm not going to be short with you. Upset. I got to go with what Havoc said. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to see the Browns lose. I wouldn't be shocked to see the Steelers lose. So, I don't know. I mean, but Coach, you got a good one too. The Cowboys. If they lose after a big win, I mean, it would make sense, but it would be very unfortunate because they would go right back to second place.
Yep.
Okay, so
and now you got to look at it. They're playing in Buffalo. It could be snowing.
Okay, guys, it looks like look at this game right here. This first of all, let me just tell you that my trap game is the Eagles going to Seattle. Now, if y'all want me to do another video about y'all, talk to me about how you did about the Broncos game, and I'll throw another video up against you. I'm telling you right now, the Eagles might very well lose this game. I'm just telling you, it's something about that team, man. They just a spoiler more than anything. That's what they do. They sit out and they spoil stuff. Now, I now want to talk about another game. I'm just going to run through some games. We're going to end on this slide because we are up against the clock. But this Ravens-Jaguars game, we know the Oscar winner is back. You know, he recovered very quickly from his whatever was wrong with him, and now he's back into the game. But the Ravens and the Jags, I don't know what's going to happen with that game, but I do know that if the Ravens pull this game out, They are close. They're getting closer to clinching that number 1 seed.
Mhm.
Guys, we could be looking at a Ravens Super Bowl this year. Again, that Cowboys-Bills game, we're going to know everything we need to know about Josh Allen in this game. Now, somebody said something, both of you guys said that Josh Allen tries to do too much. Maybe it's because Josh Allen feels like he has to do too much. Maybe that Buffalo Bills defense need to be drafting some we need to be drafting some defensive
Oh
players.
yeah, it's great you brought that up, Barry. What happened to Von Miller? Can anyone tell me where he's at?
Is he even still in
Jail.
the league?
No,
Is he-
no,
you know?
he was acquitted of that. It was like a joke for his lack of production. But yeah, he's been a huge waste of money for the Bills.
Yeah, I mean the Bills. I think Josh Allen is being asked to do too much, and possibly that's part of it. Now, that Texans game, that is going to be a juggernaut, guys.
Mhm.
Any other time, I would tell you that a 7-6 versus a 5-8 in this time of year is just a ball game, but not when the Texans trying to make the playoffs.
I agree.
Right?
Now, yeah, but this is the one thing that we didn't have on here. We had the upset and we had the trap game. But the Falcons and the Panthers is the garbage versus trash game.
Hey, but that game right there is even important too.
Only thing that's important about that game is will Carolina get their second win of the season?
Yeah, but what does that mean? That
That
means,
means the Falcons are just garbage.
but it also means that it affects Chicago's draft pick.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, cause Chicago gets Carolina's first round pick.
hmm
That's even important at this time. This is what I wanted to bring this up so we can talk about this. Okay, I don't know much about. I don't really feel nothing about that Giants Saints game. It still could mean some things because that NFC South is so close. You got Dalton's Bucks and the Falcons, I guess, and the Saints all still fighting for the win that division. And so who knows what's going to happen with that? You guys mentioned the Jets Dolphins, which is the Jets have been the weirdest team this year, have they not? You would have thought that they would have been out of this thing by now, but they just still winning football games.
Well, that's because that Mr. Random Zach Wilson, bro, he looks awful for 4 or 5 weeks straight, and then he plays a great game, and he consistently does that.
That's
he randomly has a great game every now and then.
And then another thing, just real quick, I just mention this because I don't want to hold you guys too long, but can you really expect Aaron Rodgers to really help Zach Wilson to the point that Zach Wilson is playing so good that he wins the love of the beloved New York Jets fan when he wants to come back and play next year? Dude,
no.
Still got to protect your job. That's the name of the game, right?
Yeah, but Aaron Rodgers hadn't had a chance to show the Jets anything yet. And then let Aaron Rodgers go in there and start stinking it up, and they'll be calling for Wilson.
Yeah, that's going to be they're going to take a whole lot of stank.
Yeah.
They're going to take a whole lot of double juice, And then, go ahead, Coach.
I said, a little outcast, a little stank on you.
Little stank on you. And that Buck, so the Buck game and the Packers game, that's a big game. You don't think Jordan Love want to win that? And the Bucks got to win it. Because if the Falcons win, they back in first place, I think.
They are.
So that's kind of like what this is going down to. And you guys mentioned I don't even understand how the Browns are still winning, dude.
Joe Flacco.
What in the world is going on in this league this year?
Back to 2012, Barry. Joe Flacco is the starting QB.
Man, that is, and I'm loving it because he's playing with a little bit of that good Flacco.
Oh, he picked the Jags apart, bro. It was disgusting to watch.
And again, that's a game that I feel like if you Justin Fields, you got to go in and win.
They
Right?
play Cleveland.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're right, Barry. That's a winnable game for Justin Fields. I hadn't thought of that.
He's got to go in and and win that game. What else we got to wrap us up? Oh yeah, that Broncos. I want y'all to say something about that Broncos Lions game. I'm picking the Broncos all day.
Me too. Yeah, I'm going back quick. Yeah, I'm picking Denver. Sean Payton's getting it done. He's a great coach.
If I'm not mistaken, I think this is going to really happen. I think Dalton picked the Lions to win the NFC North. Was that right, Dalton?
Don't forget them picks.
Yeah. I got to do that for tomorrow. Yeah. What about this? Let me do this real quick to end us off. We need to take one look at this bad boy right here. All right. Here we go, guys. This is the playoff picture. All right. This is what we're looking at right now. AFC, we got the Ravens. See, it's going to be interesting to see how that Miami, how that AFC East play out. I'm not so sure that the Bills are not going to win that thing. That I'm going to be watching that one real closely. And your Jacksonville Jaguars. That's going to be interesting. Going down the pipe, because if you look right up under here at 7-6, you got the Texans.
Yeah.
What if they lose that game?
Probably will lose. Jags are going to lose to the Ravens.
There you go. That thing is tight. We're coming down to the stretch on that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you guys were talking about, look at that. Wasn't that the Colts and the Steelers are playing head to head? They both 7-6.
Mm-hmm.
One of those teams where they used to win is coming, and the Broncos win. Well, one of them stays in because they win in the division, right? That's the
No.
Both of those can drop down with a loss.
Yeah.
Steelers will drop out.
Yeah, because the Browns and the Ravens are number one.
Yeah, the Steelers and the Colts can be out of there for that.
Dude, Steelers are going to be out. And Barry, I did want to say one thing about the Steelers, and I read this. Since Big Ben retired, they have not had a 250-yard and 2-touchdown performance in a game.
See what I meant when I said Pickett don't take enough chances like Ben?
Not even 300 yards, 250 and 2 touchdowns since Ben retired.
There's about 3, 4 or 5 quarterbacks that I think that are supposed to be the franchise quarterbacks for these teams. I think need to go. And I think
all the quarterbacks in this year's draft are better than Pickett. Pickett belongs in coach's dumpster juice category.
Yeah, 100%. You know, I just don't know what they're gonna do with Pickett, but I'm telling you, man, Mike Tomlin's got some. It's some things.
Tomlin loves Pickett, Barry. I think he'll be the quarterback until Tomlin leaves.
Well, all I can say is with some of these matchups we got this week, we might back the truck up next week.
We're gonna have to back the truck up next week. I'm surprised I didn't hear that truck this week. You know, and then to finish up, dude, we got the NFC East. I kind of feel like the 49ers. I don't know about you guys. I haven't looked at the rest of their schedule, but they've already clinched the playoff spot. They're the only ones. And look, guys. That Eagles Seattle game is going to affect the NFC East.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, I'll be a Seattle fan this weekend.
That's going to affect it strongly, you know. And there you go. Got the Lions. The Lions are so far ahead. I think they got it locked, don't they?
Yeah, I think so.
They should have that locked. And so I think we covered pretty much everything else. Look at the Vikings still.
Dude, they benched Josh Dobbs. They're starting Nick Mullins this weekend.
Wow.
I don't know how that's going to roll, how that's going to work.
The astronaut didn't last too long, but I'm surprised they benched him and they're sitting at 6 in the playoffs. But to round this off, Falcons still hoping for some things to win in the division. I think that's the only thing that pretty much get them in, unless they have a debacle in the NFC. I guess that's the North. But Dalton, man, take us out, my friend.
Well, you said it. Astronauts don't last very long, but there is one thing that lasts longer than astronauts, and that is the Chop and Block podcast. And honestly, most first-round draft pick quarterbacks. So, you know, the astronauts may be smart, but their run only lasts, for a very short time. Yeah, they get there quickly, and I'm sure it's a fun ride at the beginning. But, man, does it end quick. But Chop and Block podcast is here every week on Tuesday night and Wednesday night, sometimes even Thursday night. Who knows what goes on. But amazing show, NFL show led by Beast of Kane. Take us home, Barry.
Hey, you know what they say about astronauts? That's the whole saying, right? What goes up must come down.
Yeah, we about to do it. Watch us